Hello sports lovers, welcome to Sports TV. Today's episode is going to be a very exciting one, but before I get into it, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2023. I wish you all the best. Anything you set out to do in 2023, I pray you achieve it. Now, this content is about Eddie Hearn's comment on Boxing Social that his fighter Anthony AJ Joshua has a better boxing resume than Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. In this episode, we will seek to compare the resume of both fighters. Before then, let's have a listen to what Eddie Hearn actually said, then we proceed.
The resume of Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder, who, regardless of what you say, is still, there's some doubt about how good that man is. Derek Chisora years back, and just Dillian Whyte now. AJ beat Dillian Whyte, Vladimir Klitschko. There's two of them, right? So now you're down to Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder. So couple that with AJ, with Andy Ruiz, with Joseph Parker, who was a world champion at the time. Stick in the two, even if you want to stick in the two defeats to Andy Ruiz and Alexander Usyk as well. He's fighting in this time. I believe the resume is not comparable.
Thank you for sticking glued to Sports TV. Now, I would like, there is no straitjacket formula for comparing resumes, but these are some outlines I want us to look at. The form or the status or the level of the boxer as at the time you fought the boxer. What the history of the boxer and what the boxer went ahead to achieve. I think these are fair parameters by which we can do this. Like I said, there is no straitjacket formula to compare fighters. It's just like the boxing game, judging, it's a matter of opinion and style. So now let's look at, I'll take it from when they both became British champion. So Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte and Anthony Joshua, that was when Anthony Joshua competed for the British title. Then he beat Dillian the Body Snatcher in the 7th round. Referee Howard Foster was very good in stopping that fight. He waved it off rightfully because Dillian Whyte's brain was so detached from his body, he did not know where he was. Then Anthony Joshua took a big leap by stepping up to Charles Martin. It was a big leap because from British title straight to a world championship, but not the fighter. The fighter himself was not at the level at which he deserved to be a world title. Respect to him, but Glasov was winning that fight, in my humble opinion. Now, let's look at the Charles Martin fight. Charles Martin, as a boxer, has shown that he just became a world champion out of fortune because he has not even gone close into achieving anything similar. Anytime he steps up in the level of opposition, he fizzles out. Adam Karnowski, Luis Ortiz Jr. and Adam Karnowski has gone ahead to prove that he is not the elite of the elites. Yes, so with the likes of Adam Karnowski defeating Charles Martin shows you the level at which Charles Martin is as a boxer. It doesn't mean I am cherishing the O, but when a boxer takes defeat and is able to come back stronger and continue to pursue greatness, that is a top boxer who can be ranked as an A-listed boxer or a B plus or a B minus listed boxer. But from what Charles Martin has done so far, I don't think as at now Charles Martin is even a top 15 fighter, to be fair to him. Charles Martin is not a top 15 fighter. So Charles Martin just became a champion by fortune. So I give AJ credit for the big leap and great win, but the fighter he faced isn't a top listed fighter, and I know more fair or open-minded boxing fans would agree with me. Then Dominic Breazeale was then the number 15 ranked opponent, which was a voluntary defense. So it was okay, reasonable, and practical that AJ chose Dominic Breazeale. And AJ was brave because Dominic Breazeale, I think as at that time, was undefeated, 17-0, and it was very difficult to overcome or beat an undefeated fighter because he doesn't know how to lose mentally, and boxing is about 80% mental. So if a guy does not know how to lose, it is very difficult for you to overcome him. Now, Dominic Brazil was no match for AJ. AJ showed that he was the more dominant force and did justice to Dominic in the 7th round. Then Eric Molina. Dominic is not your A-listed fighter, obviously. So was Eric Molina. Eric Molina is someone I would call a polished journeyman as at that time. He wasn't too out of his prime, but let's say he was at the level of Derek Chisora now. Yeah, Derek Chisora now. But the major step AJ took, which was even a bold step that catapulted AJ's greatness to the world, was Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko, even as at that time, had not fought for 18 months, about 41 years, former unified champion, former Olympic gold medalist, had more experience and had rested the body enough, but was the rest deterrent to him because the longer you stay out of the ring, the more rusty you become. So Anthony Joshua, who was very active, beat Vladimir Klitschko in the 11th round via a TKO. And I think this particular fight, Anthony Joshua showed his bravery, having knocked Vlad down. Vlad came back, knocked him down. Then Vlad started taking control of the fight. AJ looked gassed, but he went ahead and finished the bout. That is what great boxers do, and AJ did that. But now, this is the first credible name on AJ's resume. No doubt about it. No matter how much you hate Anthony Joshua, you can't discredit the Vlad win. All you say was that we don't know the level at which Vlad was, but per the track record of Vladimir Klitschko, it was a very valid win, and it was a legendary boxing fight, a spectacular one which was worth watching. Now, then AJ went ahead and defended his IBF title against Carlos Takam after Kuba Pulev had pulled out of the fight with injury. So Carlos Takam stepped in last minute and he caused AJ a lot of problems. But Carlos Takam is not an elite fighter. Fact, you can't boast of Carlos Takam. You can't boast you beat Carlos Takam. Who is Carlos Takam? Apart from the hardcore fans, nobody knows Carlos Takam. He is not in the club of elite seeking greatness. He is a boxer whom we respect, but he is not the creme de la creme. Yes, that is the fact about Carlos Takam. Now, after Carlos Takam, this is a victory I think solidifies AJ. Pride, young, talented, undefeated Joseph Parker. This was a unification bout. This was when AJ was unifying the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA title. This was prime for prime. No excuses. AJ faced the challenge. He could not knock out Parker, but he showed that he could go 12 rounds for the first time. So this is the second solid name on the resume of Anthony Joshua. So Vladimir Klitschko, then Joseph Parker. Then AJ went ahead and stepped it further by fighting the former regular WBA champion, who was a mandatory in no other person than Alexander Pervelkin. Now, AJ faced a lot of challenge. I think Pervelkin broke his nose. AJ could not breathe, but AJ did work of Pervelkin in the 7th round. Most often, what I've noticed is that AJ just loves the 7th round. So it brings my mind to, doesn't mean that is why AJ seems to be gassing out by the 8th round, you could see AJ is out of breath because most of his fights he finishes before the 8th round. Now AJ did justice to Povetkin. Povetkin, as at that time, though he was older, getting to his 40s, but he was on a winning streak and had then been defeated by only a prime Vladimir Klitschko, who was then the super champion. Yes, he was then the super champion, and Povetkin was the regular champion. So they both fought each other, and Vlad became victorious. So Povetkin, as at the time facing Anthony, had been on a series of winning streak. Yeah. So after that, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom decided to move the brand of Anthony Joshua to the United States. And when they decided to go, they chose 1st of July, and the opponent was no other person than Jerome Miller, a New Yorker, a talker, a seller who can buy. A pharmacy Miller ended up failing series of drug tests. Now, after failing series of drug tests, who became his replacement? Andy Ruiz Jr. But let's look at the Andy Ruiz Jr. as an opponent as at that time. Andy Ruiz Jr. was not a top opponent before he faced Anthony Joshua. He was written off logically. We all know he could fight, but we all knew that he wasn't at the level of Anthony Joshua. He wasn't an A-listed fighter when he was fighting Anthony Joshua, because he was not even the first option. Dillian White rejected the fight. Luis Ortiz team or Luis Ortiz rejected the fight. Then Andy Ruiz was called to face Anthony Joshua. Within the short as at that time he has just finished facing Alexander Derevyanchenko, also Alexander, the Russian boxer. So he was in tip-top shape. Then he jumped in. Then he beat Anthony AJ Joshua. But there was a rematch clause. This is what goes ahead to affirm that Andy Ruiz, though he became a world champion, he did not have a world champion mentality, and he wasn't the elite of the elites. Immediately he won the belt, he gave it up. This showed that Andy Ruiz objectively was not a top guy. This showed that Andy Ruiz was not a top guy. He was just being marketed to be top. But if you look at Andy Ruiz, he was even released by Bob Arum for not being a good performer. Then in the rematch, he lost abysmally, bloated, and he lost the fight. Kudos to Anthony Joshua, who made it look easy, but it wasn't an easy thing to achieve. So, still credible records. I wouldn't add Andy Ruiz because as at the time the fight was happening, he wasn't an elite fighter. Then Kubrat Pulev was the IBF mandatory after he has missed out and the opportunity was given to Carlos Takam, who was next in line on the IBF list. Now, Kubrat Pulev was way past his prime. He was not at his best. He wasn't the Kubrat Pulev that was defeated by Vladimir Klitschko, though it was just one defeat. He was aging, and there was Corona, and he hadn't been active. Yeah, he had not been active, so we did not know the level at which Kubrat Pulev was, and Kubrat Pulev had aged. So the Kubrat Pulev win is a very decent win, a B-level win, but not the elite of the elite, truth be told. Then came the WBO mandatory, which is the best test of Anthony Joshua's career. Now, in no other person than Alexander the Cat Usyk, who defeated Anthony Joshua at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium twice. So the list, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the first fight. Then the second fight was in the Gulf region, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Now, so the top level fights on Anthony Joshua's fighters on Anthony Joshua's list are Vladimir Klitschko at Wembley, Carlos Takam, I think, at Principality. Then Joe Parker at Principality. No, Carlos Takam is out, sorry. Let me take the list again. Vladimir Klitschko, Joe Parker, Alexander Perverkin, Alexander Usyk. So these are the top level guys on the resume of Anthony Joshua. Let me know your views as at the stage as you are watching. These are the top level guys. Now let me switch camp to that of Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Now Tyson the Gypsy King Fury as the WBC champion, and he is in negotiation to fight Alexander Usyk to become undisputed. But this Tyson the Gypsy King Fury first became a British champion when he defeated Derek Chisoro. When he defeated Derek Chisoro, that particular fight was a one-way traffic via unanimous decision. It is nothing to write home about. Then after that, he went on to fight Nicolas Feta. These are all non-names. Tyson Fury did not up the level. I don't know if it was because of the level of promotion he was having, because he was being promoted by Hennessy Sports. Hennessy Sports, as at that time, is still not a big boxing name. He is doing his best giving boxers the opportunity, but he wasn't having the clout to bring or to take Tyson to the next level, just like how Anthony got the chance to fight for the world title after his British championship. Hennessy, his promoter, did not have that clout. So Nikolai, Neville, Martin Rogan, all these guys were all okay opponents. They were just B minus or C. They were C level opponents in which he was facing, just to build his confidence more whilst he waits for his time. But I think the real step up came after he fought Kevin Johnson. I don't know why he was still fighting Kevin Johnson after fighting for a British title, because Kevin Johnson, though as at that time had lost just 2 fights, he wasn't a quality opponent. Let's face fact. The real test came when he faced Steve Cunningham. Steve Cunningham showed that he is a former world champion with his sword, but in the fight he gave Tyson a whole lot of problem. He knocked Tyson down for the second time in his career. He knocked Tyson down, and Tyson realized that he had to show that he was the bigger man and he could not outbox Steve Cunningham. Then he started using his size against Steve Cunningham and ended up knocking him out in the 7th round. Then Joey Abel, all those guys. But there was an opportunity for Tyson again to fight Derek Chisoro. This Derek Chisoro was a better one than the undefeated one Tyson Fury fought, but Tyson Fury still managed to beat him up, and in the 10th round Don Charles called it quit. I don't know why he did not call it quit in their trilogy, but this time he did. So as at this time, after the British titles, 6 fights, Tyson Fury has still not stepped up the level of opposition. Fury, after 6-7 fights after becoming British champion, then first faced Vladimir Klitschko after defeating Christian Hammer. Now this was the first acid test of Tyson Fury. A lot of people doubt he could do it because he had to travel to Düsseldorf, Germany to beat the champion. Though Vladimir Klitschko was Ukrainian, he always fought in Germany. So Vlad was the home fighter as at that time, and Tyson was going in as the challenger. There was a lot of shenanigans about the ringside, the mats, and all those things. But the fight finally happened, and it was a very good fight. A lot of people want to see brutality, but most often I want to see skill. Tyson Fury exhibited great skill in that match. He showed that he was a superior boxer, he was faster, and his ring IQ was up there. So this was the first test of Tyson Fury, and he came out passing it with flying colors. Unanimous decision, 115, 112, 116, 111, 115, 112. All the judges ruled for him. But after that, Tyson Fury went down the cliff. After about 18 months or 2 years, he came out and fought Safari, Pianeta. All these guys are bombs. They are total bombs. So still, the only person on Tyson Fury's record was Vlad. The Vlad win for Tyson was better, in my opinion, than that of Anthony. But the Anthony's fight with Vlad was exciting and dramatic than the Fury fight. So now, after Pianeta, Safari, he stepped up and fought Deontay Wilder. A fight which, when I watched initially, I thought Fury had won the fight. But let's be fair, there were close rounds. If you swing those two close rounds to Deontay Wilder being the home fighter, Los Angeles Staples Center, it would be a draw. So fair play to the fight. This was the second step up for Tyson Fury, which ended up being a draw. He got signed by Top Rank, then they started their shenanigans. Tom Shaw's, he beat Tom Shaw's in the second round. Yes, second round he stopped Tom Shaw's. That was when he came in dressed like Apollo Creed. Then Otuwalen, that was a very tough fight. The cut on the straight left that cut his right eye. If not for the Deontay Wilder fight, the fight would have been stopped. They had already signed the Deontay Wilder fight, and Otuwalen couldn't have been a stumbling block because there was a lot of money involved, and the T-Mobile Arena was electrifying. There was a lot of nerves at the T-Mobile Arena. Fast forward, Las Vegas hosted Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury knocked out Deontay Wilder in the 7th round via a TKO, where McBrillion threw in the towel after a dominant performance by Tyson Fury. So it's still the second name on Tyson Fury's record. Then Deontay Wilder reactivated the rematch clause and fought Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury won via an 11-round knockout. Then his mandatory Dillian the Body Snatcher White at Wembley Sports Stadium in front of 94,000 people. Dillian White was a ghost of himself. He was a shadow of, he could not do all the things he said he could do. But later we are hearing that he had a leg injury. So let's look at it. Then his last fight was against Derek Chisora, which is a non-starter and doesn't even deserve any credit to be added to the list. So Deontay Wilder, Vladimir Klitschko, and Dillian White. A lot of people would ask me, why didn't I add Dillian White to Anthony Joshua? I did not add Dillian White to Anthony Joshua's list because the Dillian White that fought Anthony Joshua was not there. He could have been there, but was not there. And when he stepped up, he was beaten by Tyson Fury. So this Dillian White that fought Anthony Joshua was not as good as the Dillian White that fought Tyson Fury. So I add Dillian White to Tyson Fury's record and not to Deontay Wilder and not to Anthony Joshua's record. So in all these, Tyson Fury has three names: Vlad, Dillian, Wilder. But Vlad, Dillian, Wilder but have 5 top fights. so would Anthony Joshua also have 5 top fights. Among the 5 top fights, Anthony Joshua has lost 2. Fury has lost none. He has only drawn 1. But to be honest, these resumes look exactly the same. Fury, why am I saying Wilder? Fury dethroned a king, as in the time Fury beat Vlad. Vlad was regarded as the best. And the time Fury beat Wilder was regarded as one of the best, he and Anthony Joshua. So Fury beat him. But Anthony Joshua has more names, but he doesn't. The only A-level list of fighter I would credit Anthony Joshua win as, or perfect as, Joe Parker and Alexander Usyk. He won the Joe Parker one but lost both of the Alexander Usyk one. So I don't think he has faced him, but it is not rich enough. Whilst Fury's own, he has just faced 2 elites. The rest are Dillian White, but it's not even rich enough. So to be fair, or in my humble opinion, both fighters have equal resume, and all the resume are below average. I'll give them a 4.5 for their resume. I think they need to do better. They need to fight the young hungry lions. Filip Hrgović, Joe Joyce, though not young, but in boxing wise he is young. Filip Hrgović and the likes. We need to see the best fight and the best. So I still think their resume will not surpass any of the greats. It's still too thin. They are spreading themselves too thin. So I think they need to do better, because all these names, all the elite names are not on their list yet. I think Fury needs to face Joe Joyce after he faces Alexander Usyk. Then you can start comparing him to the greats of all time. Anthony Joshua needs the Joe Joyce, the Filip Hrgović, and the likes in order to be in the conversation with the greats. That is how I see it. I still think their resume is not up there. It's not up there. It's too thin. I will still rank it below average, but I think they need to do better, give us more entertainment. So this is my take on this particular fight. Anthony Joshua and Fury have 10 resume, a 4.5 over 10 each. They need to step it up and make it at least an 8 or a 9. They have the potential to do that. They are both skilled, they are both talented. So this is my opinion on what Eddie Hearn said.